Some rivalries are about pride, some are about tradition, and some are about bragging rights that last an entire year. But this one is about a national championship. For the first time ever in the FCS playoffs, Montana and Montana State meet with everything on the line. Not just the brawl of the wild, but a semifinal sequel on a national stage with a trip to Nashville waiting for the winner. They've played 124 times before. They've never played like this. Saturday afternoon in Bozeman, cold air, loud crowd, one state, one rival, one ticket to the title game. I'm your host, Nathan Johnston, alongside Brad Hopkins. It's time to break the huddle. Brad, if that intro doesn't give you chills, I don't know what will, other than the cold weather up in Bozeman, Montana. It's crazy to think, though, Brad, this is the first playoff meeting ever between these two rivals. Season rematch, the first time they've rematched since 1913 that they've met twice in one season. National audience on ABC at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And Brad, I got to ask you right out of the gates, when a rivalry game becomes a semifinal with a championship berth on the line, does the pressure amplify or focus a team?
I think the pressure it goes up. These two teams met, about a month ago. Montana State, the winner of that first one, but this is for a national championship appearance, and once again, it's for bragging rights. Montana can say, hey, it's one even. Montana State's, once again, they're trying to punch their ticket, but they're saying, hey, Grizzly fans, we beat you 2-0 in 2025. So pressure has ticked up by 100 in this one for sure.
Absolutely. Let's talk about how we got here, Brad. Montana State beat Stephen F. Austin 44-28 on last Friday night in the quarterfinals at home. Montana routed South Dakota 52-22 to punch their ticket as well last Saturday. Let's take a look at the stat spotlight quarterbacks for this one. Montana, Keali'i, 428 attempts on the season, Brad. 3,800 plus yards, 32 touchdowns, and 8 picks. He's a gunslinger. On the other side, Montana State, Justin Lamson pretty much has been perfect throughout the season. 310 attempts, 2,600 plus yards, 22 touchdowns, and only 3 picks. And Brad, given Ayat's huge yardage and touchdown total versus Lamson's efficiency, who do you trust more in a cold weather rivalry shootout?
It's a good question. Looking, I really really like what Ayat has got around him, but Nate, in these kind of games where it's going to be a little bit chilly and it's emotions are going to be running high. Lamson really impresses me. I mean, we're talking about he's got less than 100 incompletions on the year. That really stands out to me. And honestly, neither one of these guys have high turnover marks. Ayat with 8 picks, Lamson with 3, but I like the guy that he has thrown the ball, but only 3 picks, and I think that's a big deal. I mean, I think a guy that's just very efficient. He knows where he wants to go with the ball, and he protects the football.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I watched both of these matchups last week. Ayat scared me a couple times. Like, he made some throws that were like, ooh, I don't know if that's good. They obviously come away with the win. Their defense was a big part of that as well. But, yeah, both quarterbacks have just played good enough to get their team to the next round, and the defenses have played really well as well. The rivalry context, why this one's different, Brad. 124th or 125th meeting in series history. Montana leads overall, but Montana State has the recent edge and won their regular season matchup. This time, a semifinal berth is on the line. Brad, I'll ask you this again. Does familiarity between these two teams level the strategic playing field, or does it benefit the squad with the most recent success?
I honestly think it levels it. Both teams are going to both teams and both coaching staffs, they're going to take a long look at the film from last month's game. They're going to break down what went right, what went wrong. But Nate, it's a playoff game. It's a trip for the national championship. And both these teams have played what 3? They've both played three games since then, two games
Yeah.
since then. So, things just they change when they get the playoffs. We know that. I think both of these teams are going to take a look at what they did in their playoff games. I think once again, that last game that these two teams played back in November is important. I think you throw it all out. It's a new game plan. It's a new week. There's bigger ramifications on the line that a trip to the national championship is on board. So, you know, I think it's going to be a fun one, man. I really really wish I could be out there for this one. It's going to be just a really really fun game. But I think it's throw everything out, buckle your chin straps,
Yeah.
lace up your pads. Let's get ready to go play.
Yeah, I agree completely. You can throw everything out the window for this one. I mean, these two teams play in cold weather every single year. They're used to each other. They already played each other. They're very, very familiar, and the fan bases are too. I mean, we could see some brawls happening in the stands or in the parking lot of this game. I mean, these fans are they're passionate is the best way to
Hmm.
say it. They love the game of football. They've been great to us at Break the Huddle. We're happy we can cover these games. Let's talk about the skill players who are probably going to decide this game, starting with Montana. I know you know this name, Brad. Eli Gilman, running back
Yeah.
for the Grizzlies. My goodness, this guy's been outstanding. 234 carries, over 1,400 yards rushing, and 20 touchdowns. Are you kidding me? And then Michael Wortham, wide receiver, 77 receptions, 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns. On the other side, Montana State playmakers, Julian Davis, another outstanding running back, 151 carries, 1,000 yards rushing, 8 touchdowns. And then, of course, their really, really dynamic wide receiver, Taco Dowler. I watched this kid play on Friday night, and he looked great, man. 64 receptions, 789 yards receiving, 5 touchdowns on the year. Brad, I kind of want to flip this question a little bit because it doesn't really matter to these two teams. My initial question is, in a cold weather semifinal, do you lean more on the ground game or trust your explosive playmakers to break it open? I'll just hand it over to you. Which one do you think is more expected in this one?
You know, I know we're talking about the cold weather, but ultimately, I mean, you got to play to your strengths, and you got to
Yeah.
you got to try to expose a defense's weakness. I will say something that stands out to me. Um, Gilman, excuse me, Eli
Yeah.
Gilman for Montana. This kid's 6 foot, 210 pounds, very very physical. I mean, 234 carries on the year. So this guy, man, feed him the football. Make Montana State have to tackle him for 4 quarters. The last time out, he carried the ball 15 times for 132 yards. I I bet he gets 20 plus carries on Saturday, and I think both teams' passing games are going to be key. But if I'm Montana, feed this guy the football and just let him work.
Yeah, I agree completely. Another thing that I want to talk about is these defensive difference makers for this matchup, right? Obviously, on Montana side, you got defensive end Hunter Peck, 4.5 sacks on the year. Montana State defensive end Kenneth Eden, 8 sacks on the year. Montana safety Diesel Wilkinson, what a name, 71 tackles, and Montana State's defensive back Caden Dowler, 89 tackles. So, I mean, these defenses bring it, man. They absolutely bring it. The theme for this game is pressure up front, tackling in space. And that could be the thing that swings momentum one way or the other. Brad, when both offenses can score, is it the pass rush or the tackling machine and the secondary that wins these type of rivalry games, you think?
I think when you look at both teams being explosive, to me, it doesn't matter as much about getting them off schedule. I go back to when a team gets in the red zone, can you make them and force them to kick field goals rather than score touchdowns? I think, Nate, we could see in this one a lot of bend but don't break for both of these defenses. That's to me what it could come down to.
Yeah, I agree completely. We talk about the cold weather not being a factor, but it could still be a factor. Big stakes in this one. About 39 degrees Fahrenheit at kickoff. Ball security, footing, clock control becomes even more critical. both of these teams are used to it, so I really don't see that playing a major factor in this one. Winner advances to compete for the national title in Nashville. Brad, this isn't just Montana versus Montana State. It's a national semifinal with everything in front of it. Give us the one matchup, the one player versus player, just the one player in general that you think decides who goes to the championship.
I think it's these quarterbacks. I think it's Ayot versus Lamson. I think whichever one has a costly turnover, that's gonna really be costly. And once again, it's Ayot's been a little bit more of an explosive guy. Lamson has been just so efficient. I think it's this quarterback matchup, Nate. I think that's the decider in this one.
So with that being said, Brad, and I would say my key player is going to be Gilman. I think he is
Yeah.
elite, and he really opens up the passing game for Ayat. I'll turn it over to you, Brad. Who comes out on top to win this in-state semifinal rivalry playoff game?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Grizzlies in this one. Excited to watch this one. This is going to be an electric atmosphere. I mean, Nate, I would say this atmosphere is going to rival the 4 semifinal games we've got in FBS. But I'm going to take the Grizzlies in this one. To me, it just simply comes down to they've got a lot of playmakers. I mean, you're talking about a quarterback that has thrown. A quarterback that has just thrown for close to 4,000 yards, a running back that's could go over 1,500, and then a wide receiver with over 1,100 yards. That's some explosiveness. I just think that leads to. I think Montana's going to be able to outscore them. I think the Grizzlies. I think the Montana State Bobcats are going to put up a great fight. I think they're going to have their moments, but give me the Grizzlies in this one.
I'll be honest with you, Brad. This is one of the toughest matchups I think we've ever previewed in terms of coin flip games. I mean, you can throw everything out the window in this one. Both teams are going to be ready for it. Both coaches. There's no need for extra motivation for this one. The fans are ready. The players are ready. The coaches are ready. The mascots are ready. Right? We may see the mascots brawl it out. But in the end, I'm gonna go with the Montana State Bobcats. To me, they just look more efficient on offense, and their defense is something to be reckoned with. I think if they can get Ayat under pressure, it's going to be a long day for the Grizzlies. And I saw some comments on our video from last week, and Grizzly fans are a little worried about going to Bozeman. They know it's a very hostile place to play. Those fans are going to be rowdy, loud, and ready to go. Give me the Montana State Bobcats to advance to the national championship in Nashville. Going to be a great matchup, though. Going to be a great matchup. ABC, 4 p.m. kickoff. And be sure to check us out earlier in the day on Break the Huddle After Dark here at Break the Huddle Studio, as we will be giving in-game live commentary and analysis for the Miami versus A&M playoff game. You won't want to miss out. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and let us know down in the comments who you have coming out on top in this Montana State rivalry playoff game. We'll see you Saturday afternoon. It's time to Break the Huddle.